Okay, hey, everybody. Thank you for coming today. I'm Debbie. This is John. Still getting his tofu ready. And we're today cooking without eggs. So who here knows some tricks to cook without eggs? Anybody?
Don't put them in the oven.
Don't put them in the pan. I listened to a podcast today. It said the best thing to do with your eggs is put them down the garbage disposal. Although anybody who's changed your garbage disposal out will tell you the worst thing you can do with your garbage disposal is actually use it.
Dr. Templegoda used to say you give the egg yolks to your dog.
It's
And he
good for
looked
their
it
health.
up and he found out that they don't get.
Heart disease. But you could use a lot of other things. John makes a great omelet with chickpea flour. And chickpea flour is, from the garbanzo bean. And it's got a little more structure to it, and they say it's a little more egg-like, got a little more protein in it. My recipe, actually, I'm doing the strata today. John's doing a tofu scramble. My recipe called for chickpea flour, but I didn't have any, so I just used regular flour. And it came out fine because I practiced on it the other day. And so it should be all right. So mine is the overnight breakfast strata. This one is near and dear to my heart because for Christmases, for the last 30 years, my mom makes a strata for us on Christmas mornings. She puts it we're always putting it together on Christmas Eve, and then we get up in the morning and we cook it. But since I became vegan, I haven't been able to eat that. So this one is a vegan version, and it's pretty good, I think. Even my husband even liked it when it happens. So I'm hoping that you will like it. John, we didn't talk about how we're gonna go. Do I start? Do you start? What do you want to do?
Yours might take more time.
Okay, I'll get going then. So mine, I'm using tofu. And the tofu I'm gonna blend up with some soy milk, some seasonings. A strata, by definition, usually has bread on the bottom. You put something else on top. A lot of times, like the traditional one is sausage. Maybe you put a vegetable or two. And then you pour this liquid egg mixture over top and let it sit overnight. And then it's all soaked in. And then you cook it. So I've got my bread in here. I use sourdough bread. You do want to use a firmer bread. When I practice, for some reason, I bought some sourdough bread that was soft. Sometimes when you buy sourdough bread, it's really firm and almost like it's hard to chew, like you're ripping it off. But the one I got was really soft. I don't know why. So it says if yours is soft, then put it in the oven and toast it a little bit so it'll firm up a little. Then I got another one for today, and it was firm. We didn't have to. Actually, if I had the time, if I was using the loaf of bread, bless you, I would just rip it apart, but I cut it because it was just faster. I bought the sliced sourdough. So that's in my pan, ready to go. Then on my stove top, I'm going to start with cooking my onions. This is just super basic stuff that you really already have in the house for the most part. Well, you might not have tofu in the house, but for me, I've always got tofu in the house. So I'm just gonna saute these, and I'm gonna do a dry saute. So I'm not gonna use oil. You could use oil if you want to. I don't. I guess I'll need a stirry thing. What do you call that, spoon? And then I'm gonna add just a little fluid so it doesn't stick. Water. Water. Well, sorry, water. Yeah, what do you think this is? Vodka. Yeah, yeah, sorry. You could use broth, you could use wine.
This is the essence.
Release, thank you. John knows all that stuff. Release is good.
Yeah.
Yes. And then just when you think it's gonna burn, you throw in a little more liquid. So I'm starting with this, and then I'm gonna add my sausage. Now, this is where it seems like every time I cook for you guys, I have missing something or I do something different. So I did that. I made a whole batch for you to practice. So that will be here for us to eat today. So what I'm gonna make is gotta soak overnight. So it calls for sausage. Well, yesterday I couldn't find any sausage. I like the light life. Is that the one you like? But I had a half of a frozen one in the freezer. So that's what I'm using today to show you. But I ended up buying the Morningstar crumbles, and I did chorizo. So it made it a little more colorful. So it won't be quite sausagey.
More cumin.
What?
There'll be more cumin.
There'll be more cumin in it. It's spicy. Well, not hot spicy, but it's got some spices.
What's the stone in that?
What?
What's the stone in?
Yeah, it's not low. It is not low. Let's see, on that glass on 420 in the survey.
What's the stone?
Serving is half a cup. And this one, I really blessedly cut the sodium off. So that was in the other half. So I'm not sure what.
There's no sodium in that house, yeah.
You're super on top of your computer. Could you look up what light life sausage sodium is? Light life. I like light life because it's low in fat, and it's usually just soy. Okay, John, you ready to go?
Yes.
Because I'm gonna soak a little.
Okay, when I first had to make the transition, it was not have as in your order to, but it was encouraged that if I didn't want to have another heart attack, I would transition. Most of the people I
Who
knew,
is it?
most of the people I knew who had been vegetarian in their 20s said, "Oh yes, I've got this great recipe for tofu scramble," and they were all different. And they were all mediocre, and I struggled with that for a couple of years before deciding to take things into my own hands and cook other things. But every now and again, tofu scramble sounded good, and so I needed to come up with something that was better. And that's something better. When I went online, I found that just about everybody who pretended to be a vegan blogger had a tofu scramble recipe, and they were all different. So what this recipe is a recipe that has the fewest ingredients, but the ingredients are common with almost all the others. And there are some clues here on what you can do to amend this to suit your tastes. One of the nice things about making things yourself is you can boost the onion powder. You could use fresh diced onion. You can use several recipes like chopped red bell pepper. Some have fake bacon. So you can do stuff. With this recipe, this would be the kind of thing I'd use as an ingredient for something like eggs Florentine, where you do steam some greens, you put a blob of this on, and you put a sauce on the top, and if you look at Wicked Healthy in the back, so you have several sauces that would be wonderful, and then serve it on, you do a whole grain English muffin or as we do, a whole grain waffle. And this little waffle dealers with cheap. So what we're gonna start with is tofu, where we're gonna break into unsmithing cubes. We can do nice tidy cubes and it'll work just fine. Some people take the bricks and they will use their cheese shaver and give long strips, thin strips that when they put that in broth, makes them floppy, and then when you add the sauce, it'll act like creamy scrambled eggs. A lot of work. Breaking this up with your hands is a ton of fun. So, and so you get something like this. This is a double recipe. So what you'd be making would be much smaller. So I'm going to turn this on. So this is it's going to be on sort of a medium heat, slightly low. About if this would give me a temperature reading, it would be just over good. It's at 220, 230. Now I didn't do a whole lot of squeezing of fluid out because I'm going to use that fluid to help make this get hot. Also, I've got a lot of dry things to throw in here, and dry doesn't become soupy yet. I mean, some soupiness. So now the recipe will say throw these together and let them homogeneous, get to know each other, flavor. Given the nature of what we're doing, it's not going to happen. But the first several times that I made tofu scrambled, I had no patience at all. So the idea of waiting for things to get nice and smooth, yeah. So
How did you get over that? Because I'm still that way.
once I did it slow,
Uh-huh.
I like this better.
Yeah.
So you say, if I'm in a hurry, zip it stuff. But if I've got time, like if I'm making oatmeal, I can throw the oats in the water and it's oatmeal. I like the oatmeal a lot. I will toast the oats first, dry toast them, then put them in the water. What's the difference? It goes from a B to a B plus and minus. So do you go there? Well, if you're in a hurry, no. You're eating oatmeal. But if you're savoring oatmeal, you toast first. In this instance, you savor first.
Okay.
So we're mixing things that everyone has in their kitchens, right? You've all got nutritional yeast. You buy it by bulk, at least at time.
If you don't, you should, because it's really good. I get it in the bulk section at Winco.
We've also got my onion powder. It's amazing that onion powder and onions are a different flavor. Onion powder is just slightly sweeter until you put the onions to caramelize. Garlic powder is the same way. Garlic powder is the turmeric is the color. The paprika is in here to help make the yellow more vivid. Since I didn't put a whole ton of turmeric in, because unless it's in curry. It's a joy cooking by yourself, you know what you like and you cook for yourself. So we're gonna just let this go for a while.
Okay, while you're doing that, I broke up my sausage. So that Light Life sausage comes in that tube, like Jimmy D. But so you can just break it up while you're cooking, whereas this already comes in the crumble, so you don't have to break it up. But this, I do like the Light Life. So you cook it for like, I think it says 7 to 10 minutes or something. So you got that all cooked up. And then I believe we're gonna add our pepper things. I've already lost my glasses. So it calls for red pepper, mushrooms, and ultimately kale. All right, so we did that. Oh, yeah. So now I'm gonna add my diced bell pepper. You can use whatever you want, any veggies you want. Let's throw some mushrooms in there. What else does it say? Some garlic. It says salt if you're using it. I'm not gonna use salt. I think we got enough salt going on with the products we're using.
Is your life, does that have a product name like Gimme Lean?
Yes, they used to call it Gimme Lean,
Yeah,
but they don't call it that, like now it's Light Life.
yeah, I just see it in the tube and go, Gimme Lean,
Yeah,
which is a nice play on
Exactly.
Gimme Dean.
yeah, exactly. Thank you for reminding me that.
Whole hog sausage for me, you know, look at that. It sounded,
Okay, so then I'm just gonna cook this. We'll add a little pepper. We'll cook this for a while till the mushrooms look pretty cooked. These are huge mushrooms. I should have possibly broken them up. Okay, so while we're cooking away, what about, oh yes, shout it out, Tom.
White crumbles. Morningstar also makes crumbles. Have you got a comparison between the two?
Well, this would be their crumbles, but they're chorizo. But do they have a sausage crumble?
Yep.
Oh, you know, it's sometimes so hard to find those things. So no, I don't, but I'll look that up. That's a good idea. I'll look it up and have it to show next time. Okay.
okay, this is black salt that we refer to in the recipes, and we use it because it has that sulfurous eggy quality. I didn't mix it in with the other spices because this is something that virtually every recipe person puts in too much. You know, all of it's salt, and I'm gonna start with half the amount. Since this is double, it would be half a teaspoon. This is gonna be a quarter teaspoon.
That's not black.
It isn't.
It isn't black, which is weird. Here's mine. I know it's pink, but they call it black salt. Oh, there's a fancier name. John knows how to pronounce it.
Amlac something.
Yeah.
So I brought the whole jar because I know somebody's gonna say, but how does it taste independently? Also, if you wanna make this a little eggier. And see if I put in more turmeric, this would be a brighter yellow. No, it's just sort of. From the turmeric and the paprika. Paprika, which I was surprised, you know, my mother used paprika for years to decorate the top of potato salad.
Exactly.
And that's what I.
And the
thought.
deviled eggs.
Yeah, and it had no flavor at all, a little bitter. I had to look that up just to see what am I eating, and it turns out it's a red bell pepper that's dry. Well, that's why people use it in tablespoon amounts and. Who knew? It's not in my. So. We have sort of red bell pepper in here. A hint that you could probably throw it in and it tastes ever so much better. Now, are you
You go.
ready? Okay, the last thing I'm gonna do
Oh, yeah.
is an extravagance from one of the other recipes. That is cashew cream.
Mm.
One of the things when my mother would make scrambled eggs, it'd be the curds all right, but there was always that little creamy stuff. And so that's what this is, and you can add as much or as little as you want. You could do this, if you didn't want to go with the fats and the cashews, you could do cornstarch or potato starch or starch slurry and put it in different sort of thick. But there's something about it too, about having enough thrown in with my oil. So I'm just gonna rub it in. Made this morning.
Excellent.
It goes together pretty easily. And that is basically it for the eggs. I'll throw some scallions on top to make it look moderately civil.
Great. Okay, so mine have cooked up a little bit now. Now I'm gonna add my kale. So I chopped some kale. Just gonna turn that in there, leave it till it wilts a little, and then I'm ready to assemble. Now you could use another green if you wanted to. You could use no green. What other vegetable would you use in here? Spinach, totally. Yeah, and now I find that people don't love kale, and a lot of people go, "Ugh, I hate kale." You can tell I love kale. But spinach is fine, chard is fine, no green is fine. But I try to sneak it in everywhere I can. Because it's a cruciferous vegetable, it's gonna help fight cancer. And then I'm going to, in my blender, you can use any blender. They have a fancy blender here, but you don't need a fancy blender for this one. It's gonna be my egg mixture. So for this one, you know, tofu comes in different textures. There's extra firm, and then there's a silken one. The silken one is more like pudding kind of texture. I tried this recipe already and cut it in half, and today I'm cutting the recipe in half too to make in front of you. So that's why I'm using half of a block. I've just been keeping it in my fridge. I stored it in this container, keep it in water, change the water every day, and it's been doing that for a couple days, so it's fine. So this is my silken tofu, half a block.
You know what? tofu goes.
What?
Tofu goes.
What's
How
the
do you know if
question?
tofu goes bad?
It's slimy.
Does it get slimy?
Yep.
I've never had it go bad. It gets slimy. Okay, there, you heard it here first. It gets slimy.
It hangs out with the wrong crowd.
It hangs out with the wrong crowd. That's right. Just like in high school when I started hanging out with the smokers by my locker. Yep, we don't want to do that. Okay, so then it called for oat milk in the recipe. I don't have oat milk, but I do like soy milk. It wants a milk that's a little creamier. So almond milk is great. You'll see that in my fridge too, but it's really not very creamy. It's a little smidgen of almond and a bunch of water. So I like the soy milk because it's got protein in it. In fact, when you're baking, say for the holidays, and it calls for a milk and you want to use a plant milk, soy is a good one to use because it's a little more like regular milk with the protein content. So that's going to be better for your baking. So now I'm cutting my recipe in half. So I think that was, I don't know, like 3/4 of a cup. And then it calls for some flour. Now this is where it calls for the chickpea flour, of which I had none. But if you wanted to get chickpea flour, I think it's really good if you want to try the omelets. And those come out very good. I practiced one of those too, but I'm really not great at doing the omelet in front of people. It doesn't fold pretty, and I thought, forget that. You guys would never go home and try that. This one's really easy, and most of us have some all-purpose flour, or actually, I also use whole wheat flour when I did my practice at home, and it came out fine. I'm gonna throw in a little turmeric, that's for the yellow. Oh, and you know what, John, I wanted to ask you. That black salt. Somewhere I heard that you shouldn't add black salt till the end. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Why is that? Does it cook out?
yes. Also, it's because it is not, it's a powder, is fine like flour. Not like regular crystallized salt.
Yeah,
So you get more surface area, get more dense packs, so that's a little saltier than you'd otherwise expect.
yeah.
So does it have a subtle flavor to it?
It's sulfury.
Yeah, so maybe that disappears if you put it.
Yeah, oh, but it
Right.
cooks off,
Right.
which is why a lot of the one of my favorite vegan cooks puts a teaspoon of it in her tofu scramble and up at the front end, so that on the back end, it doesn't taste like egg, but it's really salty. So, but anyway, that's why I always add it at the end, just because I know it's gonna have, give me the nasal pop and The stuff will not have the salt inside of it, as if I brined it, it will have a superficial saltiness. But I'll have the nose hit that would be with the eggishness.
So you don't, if you smell it, you're not gaining weight from just smelling it, right? You can enjoy the flavor, but not have the consequences.
True.
Right,
Okay, I'm gonna
So-
blend for a minute, so you talk loud.
so you can do that with butter too. You butter. Eat your toast. No fat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. Temptation is.
Already taken out of the fridge.
We have a stick of butter from Christmas. That is this much left. Was used on our Christmas program. We only eat Christmas Day with scrambled eggs. It's like, well, then what do we do? My daughter is on the diet. So, no, it's like she doesn't like my temptation, so good. So it's staring out 10 months. That's part of the training with making the switch is you learn to say, I'm not gonna go there. I love it dearly, I'm not gonna go.
Plus, eventually you feel so much better. And if you do have a slip or something, you notice
Yeah,
that it doesn't feel so.
yeah, I can tell with a lot of things that are fried. Then I can taste the oil real quickly because I use very little of it. Yeah,
Like with your celiac, huh?
Yeah.
so,
Okay, I'm assembling, but there's other things we do with eggs, right? Especially during the holidays, we're baking a lot. So what are substitutes for baking? With eggs? What?
Applesauce.
Apples, that would be great for fat, and you can probably use it for eggs too. But I'm thinking the flax egg, where you do a tablespoon of flax, 3 tablespoons of water, or a tablespoon of chia seeds, a tablespoon of water.
Yeah, let it sit for a while,
Let it sit for about 5 minutes and it just gets thick and viscous.
and then you take the seeds out.
no,
No,
Leave them in.
you leave it all in and pour it in. Especially the chia, it can change the color of what you're making. See,
Chickpea,
aquafaba,
yeah, thank you.
perfect example, yes, that's the liquid from your chickpea cans or your garbanzo bean cans, you can use that, and I found that to be great. And then Leanne made us some great muffins up here, some lentil banana muffins, tell us about those.
Yes, they're very easy to make. I cook the lentils and let those cool. And then just add I used flaxseed egg and some whole wheat flour and raisins and cinnamon and regular baking ingredients.
Okay,
Do you have to use a silicone pan to make them come out? They don't have any oil or? do you typical-
Right, so used applesauce for the oil, for the fat.
Okay.
And of course, there's bananas in them. And then use the silicone baking pans, which I love.
those are amazing,
They really
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
because I've tried those with the little muffin cups. And unless you spray them with your pan, they kind of stick.
They
They're hard to
stick a
get
little
out.
bit,
I love
yeah.
those silicone muffin cups.
Yeah.
Get those on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forward to them, get everything.
Oh, yes, and Debbie Clapperton.
Oh, yes, yes.
On the aquafaba.
Yeah.
I find that it goes bad before I get to use it. If I take a can of soybean. The aquafaba goes bad before I can use it.
freeze it,
Do what?
freeze it, put it in.
I freeze it. I
ice cube
freeze
fridge.
mine.
Oh, wow.
And how much equals an egg?
Quarter cup.
Can you repeat all that, please?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so Tom's finding that when he uses aquafaba, like he uses the garbanzo beans one day, and he's not gonna use that aquafaba for a number of days. I freeze it. Cause you're right, it sits in your fridge and you think, is this good? Is this bad? Who knows? It doesn't, it never
You
tastes
know when
good.
it goes bad.
So yeah, I freeze it. That's a
I-
good question.
I don't do that.
You don't.
No, I cook straight beans. I
Oh,
come to hate and the canned garbanzos, they don't come out as smoothly as my hummus. That's my main
Aha.
garlic. So I'm able to cook it in the pan
Yeah.
until the recipe says bring to a simmer for an hour and then a few more minutes. They overcook them, they'll be soft but not disintegrate. And then I have controlled it. Suppose I could do that with what's in the can. But there's no fun in that. I've got one of these guys at home and we live out of this. I've got a 4 burner that we use. Well, we use the big burner to heat tortillas. Use this thing to cook virtually everything else because it's so quick to cook and control. And it doesn't heat up the kitchen in the summer.
it's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so I mixed in my sausage veggie mixture. I stirred that up with the breadcrumbs. I put a little cheese. I use the Daiya mozzarella shreds. I've also used the Trader Joe's stuff. I know I don't use a whole lot. It called for a lot more cheese than I actually used. But what's your favorite cheese?
This actually,
This one?
I like the way it melts. The old formula was really, you'd cook it and it would desiccate and become crunchy. This, when you heat it up, cook it, it'll melt and blend in.
Yeah, it's changed. It
Yeah.
has. They changed their formula and it's much better.
And if you're making a sauce, a white sauce, for instance, and you want a little bit of extra umami, a little pinch of that thrown into the sauce, it'll disintegrate into the sauce. So it'll thicken it and give you a little salt and niceness.
I haven't used the diet in a while, but I noticed that it had a lot of saturated fat.
Yep,
It's made
Coconut.
from oat cream, yeah. It's made from coconut. Or no, it's oat cream.
You used to make it out
Oh,
of.
there's coconut oil too.
Out of, what do you,
Tapioca.
tapioca, used to be out of tapioca.
Mhm.
It was a little healthier.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ones, and that's why I don't use it very much, Tom. But you need it in the recipe, I think. But it would be okay without.
and we could do a thing on vegan cheeses. There's a lot of fussing with that.
Yeah,
And there are a lot of very smart people that spend a lot of time cooking really awful stuff to come up with the recipes that they do come up with.
they must like it at some point though, right?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, but it is not, for the amount of cheese that I use, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's better to just get the package, save my fiddling around for something that I really wanna fiddle with.
Yeah, I don't use the cheese very often, only for special recipes.
Ooh la la.
So I'm gonna stick that one in the fridge overnight. And then this one actually was poofier when we first pulled it out of the oven. But here's our strata, so we just dig in and you put sauce on it, put hot sauce on it, you can put more veggies on it, whatever you like. So we got 2 kind of breakfast things here.
What a way to start the day.
Exactly.
All you need is some toast.
That's right, we should have made toast. That would have been fun. No butter.
No butter.
Uh,
But
That is true.
I was thinking we could do a Florentine,
Oh, yeah.
which would mean having the greens with the garlic. And then the sauce with the lemon and it's good.
It is, but
And there was a bar in Portland that made such a deal. They called it their sandwich, the Benedict, and they would offer it every other week. And during the pandemic, I tracked And I was looking for alternatives, looking at street food and the like. And this Benedict kept showing up and I looked at it and it was tofu, and greens, this sauce. On the English muffin, they had a beyond meat, beyond something, patty, sausage patty. And I thought, it's bar food. Bar food has to be something that they will come back again for.
Yeah.
They're not going to tolerate that while they're slurping down the $15 glass of something green. So so I thought, well, let's track these down, and I found a recipe for their pale Caesar. And I experimented with that with my daughter this weekend, and 2 people and this big recipe, so we made the whole thing at half a batch. And we ate it, and as my daughter was finishing her second helping, she said, I could use a little more. So we took the rest of the kale, the rest of the romaine, and the rest of the dressing, and the rest of the pumpkin seeds, and made a second dose of the kale seed. So,
Hell, yeah.
yeah, this is something where if you discover it's good, and if this is tasty for you, eat it. But you can control this, you can shape it to where it is tasty for you. It doesn't have, the recipe is the guide that says, these are the things most people use. And these are the quantities that they mostly use. But go for it. You're the one who's eating it. Black pepper would be heaven on this. We don't have a pepper mill here that's worth anything.
Oh, we do too.
Oh, really?
I brought it.
Oh,
I
well-
bought this for $2 at a thrift store.
That'd be annoying. Why don't you anyway? Okay, life is good.
Okay, all right, now we can eat.
Now you got it. Lori.
Okay. Well, we'll leave this up here. Okay, I think we should eat. Any other questions, things you're concerned about, egg thoughts? No. Okay, come on up. Let's eat. And don't forget these luscious muffins.